Welcome back to my car shop. Today we're going to work on the 70 Challenger and begin fabricating that front S piece on the frame rail here on the driver's side to get that ready for installation in the car. Hope you enjoy this. Let's watch the intro. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you on the other side. This will be fun. I promise, it will. Really.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Cars Shop.
Told you that wouldn't be bad. You got a chance to spend 30 seconds and see just a few of the cars that we have here that we're working on. All right, so today, as I said, we're going to be getting into the frame rail fabricating for the front part of the frame rail on the driver's side. So in episode 19 and 20, I think it was, you had seen me make and install that 18-inch piece in the back part of the frame. From there, the frame is good where it goes forward, up, over, and then when it comes, get over here, then when it comes just up over, it starts getting rusty up in here, and then it's rusty all the way down to where it ties into the main structure supports on the other side. So we need to replace that piece. So let's go down there and I'll show you what we're looking at, and then I'll show you what I've done so far to begin the process. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is the hoop in the frame here. And you can see when we get into right here, it starts getting rusty. So we need to replace a piece of this from here all the way down to where it actually ties into the main cross member up there. So it's just pretty bad all the way through, and we just need to cut it about in here-ish and replace it. I've gone through with a hammer and tapped on this frame, and it's pretty solid for the most part. So there's quite a bit to do to get it out of here. We've got to break it loose from the floor pan up in here, breaking those spot welds loose, and of course cutting it, and then doing the same thing down there and just taking it away from that main cross piece in the frame and the floor pan there, which is a main structure of the car. So let me show you what I laid out, and we'll go from there. So you had seen me in episode 17, episode 18. I will put a link up here on which one it was, where I've used wire to lay out a profile. I actually did it in the episodes for the trunk support, floor support, gas tank support, and then of course for the other piece of frame. This is a little more complicated, and I'm not going to be able to make this completely out of one piece. So that's going to make some interesting challenges. So the first thing I need to do is to find that profile. What I did was, this is the top of the hoop here, and then it goes down, and this is the very exact front edge right there. And what I did was just take this piece of brake line and bend it for the contour so that I know what that profile is going to look like up to here where I'm going to be cutting it off. It's actually a little bit long, as I always do. So I'll take this, and I went to the Wally World, bought some white poster board to trace this on. So this is the bottom of the profile, and then I need to take and go back under there. I'll just straighten this out once I've traced it out and get this done along the top, and I'll show you that process. You say, well, why don't you just take something down there and trace it, right onto the paper, just trace the frame. Well, there's a lot of crap in the way, and I would have to get that roughed in above because I can't get that poster board to go up high, so I would have to know that profile anyway. But I've done this for exhaust, I've done this for roll cage, a lot of projects over the years where we use this. I've actually taken a piece of brake line up to the muffler shop that I've traced out for a piece of exhaust pipe that I need and say, bend me one outside profile like this. So I can't tell you enough on this Can't Kink brake line how beneficial it is to use for making profiles and making parts to follow those profiles. Imagine that. Wow, brilliant. At this point in the process of this project, I was getting confused myself. So where I started with making that lower profile, I should have been starting with the upper profile, and there's myriad reasons I'll get into later on why that is. So I'm interjecting this here to bring clarification that my own thinking was really messed up, and I was thinking backwards about things. And rather than taking you through all of the process that I went through to get to starting at the top and working my way down, I'm just going to interject this and cut right to that, because I have no problem admitting mistakes, but I don't want to confuse you so that you walk away from the video going, wait a minute, I don't get it. So hopefully we can clarify this for you and make it clear. So let's go down under the car and start with the top profile. Okay, so I got you down here with me, and I'm just laying this piece of brake line in here, like so, to, I know it's hard to see, but to just follow that contour in that profile. Now I know I'm back a little bit from the front here, but not much. But this curve up here definitely is a bit different, so I'm just rebending this brake line to go along with that contour and follow that so that I don't have to put any pressure on it at all, and it just goes into place there. But I don't want to have pressure on it. I want it to just line right up. It's getting close. And just fall into place against that frame rail. Well, like so. It's a little bit loose there and a little bit tight here. So let's tighten it up just a little bit here. No, just like this, and like this, and like this. Okay. Again, we're just trying to ballpark it. There we go. I'm happy with that. So that fits that profile pretty good now. So now I can take this over to the cardboard after I get a couple dimensions. I want to know the width down here. If you can see where my finger is, at the front, you can't quite see it. I want to know the width about right in here, and then the width up at the top as well, so that I know how far apart to place these lines between the two profiles. I screwed up. Got to do it over. So I did this as the bottom profile, but I had it upside down. So let's start with the upper profile first. Let's straighten this out. There we go. Might as well share the screw ups with you, because that's what you're going to do. Okay, so there we go. So this is the upper piece. There we go, eh? So let's trace that out and leave that 3/4 of an inch like we talked about. Then we can go back down, and I won't take you back down there to do the lower one. Then we can go back down there and relay out the lower profile. So that was a goops. Okay, there we go. So that's the upper profile. And so now we'll go lay out this brake line for the lower profile and trace that on here with the dimensions of 3.5. Yes, 3.5, 3 3/4. So let's do 3 1/2, 3 3/4, and 4 1/4. So that's all part of it. Is you get your mind going down one path and you find out that wasn't the way you should have been going, and so you start over. That's why we do templates. Apparently today is Airhead does fabricating, so I thought about going back and redoing some of this episode, but I decided to just let you see how my mind works, barely some days. Realized that, yes, I need the 3/4 inch flange at the top. That's a given because that's what you attach the floor pan to, but I don't need this flange here. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't. It takes me a long time because I'm not very good at it. I don't need this flange here, so we just need to cut this on the profile line here for the frame itself. This flange here is going to be on the piece that I make that goes underneath it, so that 2-inch whatever wide piece that it is. So a little bit of an airhead today, I guess, but that's okay. So we'll be cutting this out on this line here and on this line here, and then if it works, hopefully, I'll be putting this on the tipping wheel and beginning the process of tipping this up to make a flange that goes out on one side, well, out on both sides. So it'll be like these two straight pieces with an L flange up like this. And the way you do that is to get that on the tipping wheel, and hopefully that's not going to stretch this metal too far. If it starts to be a problem that I'm not able to do this compound curve the way I want to, I'll just cut that flange off and I'll weld the flange on the top, but that's not the ideal way to do it. Okay, there we go. We have our frame rail template made out of cardboard. And as I mentioned, apparently it's airhead day in the shop, so we'll just own it. Oh, I want to practice a little bit, so I'm using a lighter piece of metal just to get some practice. And I've done the upper part of the hoop profile just to, just to practice something. And part of it is I want to get a feel for how this flat piece of metal is going to react when I start tipping this edge up and starting to make this flange. So tipping is exactly what it sounds like. So what I'm doing is putting this in the bead roller and then tipping this up and then rolling it through to tip that edge up and create this bend. So I'm here by myself, which is not the way to be doing this, but that's all I have right now. When I go to do the frame rail, I'm probably going to have to get some help. So I'm using a neoprene wheel, and then I'm actually using something I probably shouldn't be, but I'm using what I have. I don't have a tipping die for the top, but I'm using the bottom half of my step dies because it has basically the same profile and a nice sharp edge, and it should make a nice bend in this metal. So I'm just too lazy and cheap to go order one because I want to do it this way. So I start running it through the bead roller. There's not a huge amount of tension on that, but I can't push this in either. Maybe just a little bit looser to start. Yep, I think that's about right. So I've got it to where I can just start to slide it in. And my line isn't real crisp and clear there, but I know where I'm going with it. So, and all I'm going to do is start running this through very slowly and tipping it up and following that line around. And you have to be very slow when you do this. Oops. Doing it by yourself, like I said, it's not ideal. I get a little more tension on that wheel, it should be fine. And you don't want to do it in one pass. Keeping a good amount of upper tension on there. I'm getting a little bit out of control there, but that's all right. It's just practice. Yep. Okay, I should have come in further. It's slipping. There we go. Yeah, it's really slipping on me for some reason. I'm not sure why. It's probably because I'm not using the right upper wheel. Or maybe I bet I'm doing too much at once now that I think about it. Yep, that's what it is. So yeah, you got to do it more than one pass. You can't get carried away there. I'm not happy with the way that's walking. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think when I got some more tension on the wheel, it won't slip like that. Just following the line down with some upward pressure. Okay, good. So, yeah, I was getting a little too carried away in here. And part of that was it's buckling. It's pulling this metal. And so you can see that I need to take the shrinker stretcher now and just go in here and shrink this to straighten this back out a little bit, get some of these buckles out and get this piece straight before I go on and roll it the next time. So let's go over to that tool and we'll do that. Okay, so again, we've got all these buckles in here, and part of this was me. I was just getting a little carried away. But I still need to, it's pulling this, so I need to go in here and shrink this metal a little bit to pull it back in place. so that this piece stays flat. I don't want to get too carried away here, but I just want to inch it around a little bit. Probably going to have to peen that one just a touch. And I'm obviously not going right into the big whoop there. But I'm shrinking that metal just enough to get those lumps out of there. There we go. And to return this pseudo frame rail piece to flat. Getting carried away there. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a nice tipped piece. I got another one up here I got to fix. We've got a nice tipped piece, and then this is back to being basically flat. It takes a little time. You can't rush. You also got to open the jaws back up if you expect to get the metal in there. Okay, good. There's one more right there. Okay, back over to the bead roller, lather, rinse, and repeat. So I'm going to tighten this down a little bit. So so I can't quite push it in there. Still a little bit more than there we go. And go through this again. And again, I'm just putting gentle pressure up on it, tipping it as we go. Not getting carried away, but I've got a lot more tension on that wheel now. As I come around this bend here, follow that line. There we go. Good. It's really hard to do this by yourself, but it's $350 for the motorization kit for this unit. I don't want to spend it. Not right now. There we go. Good. Getting there. Again, we've got to go back to the shrinker stretcher because we got some whoops in here. So we'll take care of that. And so this is why we do test pieces. Because you can see I was paying more attention to this outer edge in here than I was to the what was happening with the straight, and I got a little carried away, I got a little carried away, and I overshrunk this. So that just means I put this back in the stretcher and stretch that back a little bit, and then I think I need to also dolly in here just a little bit to straighten that out. But this is coming along very nicely. This is all part of the process. So I'm over here on my big wood block. Use this also for some metal shaping. And I need to just go around and do some work on the edges here. Probably do it on this corner. It's not a rounded corner, but it's got a nice, now it's rounded. It's got a nice edge there. And I need to do a little peening, mostly down here. And I don't want it, what I don't want to do is use a hammer, because that'll put hammer marks in there. So there's several options. I can use a slapping file, which is a wider spot like this. It's actually working pretty well. The other thing I'll use is maybe I'll use my shrinking file a little bit, which is basically a slapping file for shrinking metal. I think it needs to shrink just a bit more in here. Definitely tell it does. We're getting close. That's mostly straightened out that whoop. There's a little bit of a whoop right there yet I need to straighten out. Getting there. Yeah, it really just goes here and it just bends out. So I got to think that through a little bit. Okay, what I need to do is I shrunk it too much right in here. So I just need to go back to the stretcher and stretch that back out a little bit. All right, that's a lot better now. So you just got to really read the metal and see how it goes. It's bowing out just a little bit here, so it needs a little bit more shrinking in here, but I want to do a little bit more dolly work on it first. We're getting really close. Another thing you can use for this that works pretty well is a 2x4 because it's softer. Now they make nice wooden faced hammers that have leather on them and all kinds of stuff, but again, I don't have those, but I'm trying to do this in a way that what a DIY can do. Obviously you're going to have a bead roller and a shrinker stretcher to do that. What I'm doing here, but still, I mean, with minimal tools, what a guy can accomplish if he is, really trying to do it. This is getting very nice. It's got just a little bit of a twist in it, and I got to figure out where that's coming from. Very nice. I want to trim this edge up now a little bit. I got, it's more from walking with the roller. This is very thin metal, so it was a little harder to control, plus I'm doing it by myself. So I'm just going to go trim this edge down now, and I'll be right back. And this, my friends, is why we do templates. So I had to do a little bit of tweaking on it, but you can see now that I've got a good metal template started here. See it a little bit better. So it's not perfect, but it's getting close. So I've got to redo my cardboard template. It's not exactly right. I'm not sure why, but that's okay. That's all part of the process. So I ended up being, it was too long up here, which I knew, but it was a little thick in here, and that I got to figure that out. So I think I'm going to go back to my cardboard template and take the flange part off, and then when I do it on the metal, I'll just make it that 3/4 of an inch wider. But it's turned out really good. It's flat, it's got a nice L on it, and that's the way that you bend a 90-degree on curved sheet metal. It's a bit of work, but quite frankly, I don't care because it's a ton of fun. Brake cable thing here off the frame so that I can lay that cardboard template all the way down here and make sure that everything is perfectly right. So we're getting there. I'm not at all discouraged. I've only been working on this for an hour, maybe not even that, and I've gotten this far along. So progress. So I've trimmed my template off. I took the flange of it off, got it up in here, and found that it was a little bit, had a high spot right in here. So that's only trimming I've done on it so far, other than I had to trim a little bit up in the front here because this corner here needs, haven't done this yet, but it needs to be trimmed off there a little bit, right here. So we're gonna do that right now. There we go. Now that lays in there nicely. It's actually a little bit short. Darn it. Oh well, that's okay. We can add a piece of masking tape and fix that. But the main thing I'm concerned about now is it's good to here, and then somehow, I don't know how, but I got my curve off right down in here. So I just need to trace this up. The brake line method was good to get us started, but let me down, so that's fine. This is all part of making templates. Thank God I discovered this before I went ahead and started bending up the heavy metal. All right, so yeah, I gotta smooth that out in there a little bit. It's got a bit of a loop because of the rust hole in the frame right there. So yeah, we're good, and I'm gonna cut this off up here, about there, so I'm not screwing myself up there as well, because it's definitely off just a little bit right there. Okay, so let's get this trimmed up and then we'll see how it fits. All right, much happier with that now. So it fits good here, all the way around. It's a little bit long in here, not much, but we'll take a little trim on that. And then I need to add a piece of masking tape up here, or maybe what I'll do, I think what I'm gonna do is just make it longer up in here, and hopefully you can see that. When I do the actual piece, that's probably what I'll do. My template's just a bit short all around, so I just need to add a few inches to it. But it fits good now. Thank God I made that steel template, or that steel piece, and discovered things were off. So it's all about adjusting and trying again. That's all good. It's fabricating. So just for clarification, the piece that I made out of metal fits perfectly against that template now. And here's the template. So my dimensions here, I should have triple checked. Those were off. And that's what caused a lot of this. But we're good. Our test piece fits well, and obviously this is just a small piece of a much bigger piece. But that's the purpose of this. It's exactly like why I made this for the rear frame rail. If you haven't seen that episode, just scroll back a couple of episodes. I'll try to remember to put a link up there for it, where I was building this test piece. And obviously we're going to be doing the same thing with this. Well, I'm not going to be doing that, but when this whole piece is done, it's going to look like this with this profile. So, you know, you can imagine double-sided, and what I'll be doing is making two of those pieces and then putting a piece down the middle to give us our box. And so there'll be, you know, parallel pieces just like this, shaped in the whole profile of this. So the next steps here in this project then will be for me to go and lay this out on the sheet metal and cut out two pieces like this, plus that 3/4 inch for the flange. And then I have to make sure these are identical. I want them to be exactly the same. So I will probably clamp them together and make sure that I form them right once I've got them rough cut. And then the next step is to mark them and get them in the tipping wheel and tip the flange on both of these. And then I'll make sure that they match. And then the step after that will be to make the piece down the middle. And the way I'm going to do that is very similar. I will be cutting a piece this wide, plus probably 3/4 to 1/2 inch or 3/4 to 1 inch up the side like that. And then I will be making it to match those curvatures by using the shrinker stretcher to make that piece go down the middle and align properly. I'm hoping to not pie slice. Once that's done, I'll be drilling holes in here to spot weld that piece, as well as then solid welding it on the edge, grind it down, and from the outside you won't even be able to tell that it was all made out of more than one piece. And that's going to make a very nice replacement piece for that frame rail. Remember, I'm not capping it. I am simply replacing that piece in there with a very nice, big, hefty, strong piece of frame that I've made myself. And then that's the joy. That's the fun, is the making of stuff. I can't get enough of doing it. The next piece is, like I said, cutting the metal out of the sheet metal. I'm not going to put video together of that. Probably not going to put video together of me cutting those pieces out. But I will get Becky or somebody out here to help me when it comes time to tip that, so that she or someone can work the crank for me, so I can really focus and concentrate on getting that tipped over and making that L piece. And that's going to take a couple of hours to get that done. There's a lot here, and I'm really trying to lay out in detail for you what all it takes to do the preliminary work. So it's like all the behind the scenes stuff that has to happen to do. I don't want to just show you the glory of going in there, ripping out the old frame piece and slapping in a piece that you had no idea how I made it. Because that's the point of My Car Shop, right? We're here to show you what you can do by buying a few simple tools. I mean, didn't pay much for that stuff. Both of those items came from Eastwood because I wanted a little better quality stuff. But you can look at the shrinker stretcher and the bead roller on their website. I'm not endorsed by them. I just like the tools, so I'm going to give them a shout out, even though they don't pay me. I wish they did. Give them a little shout out to say, you know, those tools and equipment work well. You've seen me use them on other episodes here. My guess is the next episode coming will be the constructing of that piece of frame, and then the next one after that will be the installation. So don't go away. I really think that you want to see that. So if you hit subscribe on the channel right now and then click that bell so that you get notifications, you'll see when the next episodes are coming out. We were supposed to be working on the Oakland today. We had a situation arise. My dad was not able to come out today to do that, so we're hoping to do that later this week. So reassembling the engine on the 26 Oakland. I'm hoping that we're not far away from getting that car fired up. It hasn't been run in 75 years. 95-year-old car. Can you believe that? It's crazy. So that's the 26 Oakland project, but I'm really focusing on the Challenger right now. A couple of reasons. I love doing it. It's my favorite part of everything, but I also want to get this car back on its feet so that I can move it around if I have to. Another thing that's coming, and that's another reason why you want to subscribe. In the back of my truck, I'll put a picture in here somewhere. John's 66 Plymouth Belvedere. And I've got the fenders in the back of my truck, the front fender, the driver's side front fender, to begin taking two fenders and making them become one. So we're going to be marrying some fenders. And I'm going to take you through the process of that. One fender's really beat up, but it's got some good metal. The other one is rusty, and we got some patches to replace and some holes to fill. So we're going to do an episode or two on those fenders as well, so look for that. So again, hit subscribe. You don't want to miss it. There's so much happening here. It's just insane. Can you believe it? All right, that's it for today. If you're not on... Wait. Don't go anywhere. You don't need to click on somebody else's channel. I was looking this morning, and we broke our 100 video mark. This is 102, I believe, now. Wow, we got a lot of videos. So go somewhere else on the channel. Dig into the background on the Challenger. Look at the 47 Ford Street Rod project. If you like paint and body work, there's a whole bunch of episodes of me painting the front fenders on that car. We have more fabricating on the 74 Dart Swinger. There's just a lot of stuff here. I don't see any reason why you want to go anywhere else. So stick around, subscribe. /My Car Shop on Facebook, /My Car Shop on Instagram. And one more thing, if you've been around us here for a while, you know